Hey everybody, happy May the 4th. Uh, I know it was a little late, but uh, I just got home, so I wanted to just pop in really quick to give my overall thoughts on Star Wars Tales of the Underworld, which is a continuation from Tales of the Jedi and then Tales of the Empire. Uh, Tales of the Underworld is focusing on Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane, which at least piqued a lot of people's curiosity. Because my biggest complaint from Tales of the Empire, they picked two of the most least interesting. I was well, the Jedi girl is like at least semi interesting, but still didn't hold any weight, in my opinion. And that villain that you saw in Ahsoka and showed up a little bit in Mandalorian was like, why? Like you're it's such a waste of time. Like she wasn't all that freaking important to warrant a 3 episode arc for her. Still didn't I still didn't give a crap. Some people might feel different. That's fine, but it's just like I think this one's actually the first time that I like, both characters' choices and the 3 episode arcs they are involved in. Tales the Jedi still pretty good, but the all 3 Dooku episodes was like very solid, and like 2 of Ahsoka stuff was actually pretty solid. The middle one's probably like the better one, but I didn't care about Ahsoka as a baby. They didn't mean much or add anything to her overall lore. Uh, uh, you could just that could have been just instead of her as a baby. How about show her as like a little kid getting accepted in the Jedi Academy the first time, and her getting acclimated to the Jedi Academy? That'd probably been a little bit worth something, rather than, oh yeah, she's a baby that's a little force sensitive. Yeah, no crap. I was like, how does this add anything to her character? Sure, she has, you know, uh, it has a a Jedi prodigy. Sure, you know, so does a lot of the Jedi. I mean, like, yeah, that's why she got picked. Or just why the Jedi sought her out. Anyway, this one's actually the one that I none of the episodes were lacking in my opinion. I think maybe it's because they was trying to find their footing. At least Dave Filoni was trying to find his footing with these tales of stories. But in all honesty, and it comes to Star Wars, I think they should just stick with the animated projects. By and large, they are the best ones compared to some of their live action ones. The live action stuff they've been giving us since the first season of Mandalorian has been hit and miss in a lot of cases. But in recent years, they've been very lacking in terms of the live action projects. Right now, I'm going through Andor. That one, once it's complete, I'll give my complete thoughts. Hey, Getzillion. Just the me giving my overall opinions about Tales of the Underworld, the Star Wars project. I wanted to make sure I talk about this on May the 4th. I feel like I will be disingenuous. Sure, I could have done it on Revenge of the 5th, but I think it came out on May the 4th. I want to talk about it on May the 4th. So, anyway, the first 3 episodes was dealing with Asajj Ventress. Now, before I really get into it, I gotta point out, they say, some might argue it started with the Acolyte. I think this started way before the Acolyte, where they're trying to push this forces female crap, and it's like you already got very good female characters. You didn't have to push so hard about making it like, you know, oh, you're from Brazil. Oh, nice. Like, how is Brazil? I mean, from certain images, it's always look very I won't say tropical, but yeah, Brazil always look very nice from certain images that I've seen. Um, but yeah, they always trying to push this whole force this female stuff, and it's like you don't have to go so hard trying to prop up females and making them like super perfect and infallible. It's like just you ever seen like to act like you know exactly what I'm describing, and yet many accounts of great female characters, great in their own right, have their faults. You don't need to like walk on eggshells or worry about looking like misogynistic if God forbid they falter in any kind of way. Asajj Ventress is like a perfect example of a great character from her ever since her inception, and over time built a reputable history. Whereas people can look at her as like this is a great fleshed out character. Um, yeah, I know it's like the U.S. dollar is like I've been to Mexico years ago, and like yeah, the American dollar goes a long way in a lot of countries. Yeah, I don't know if they're a currency in another country holds that same weight or at least comes close to it. Maybe the UK dollar, maybe is probably a good close second. Uh, anyway, so I'm glad that we just I don't know what stage Asajj Ventress is at this point. Is it set after her run in with the Bad Batch, or is it before her run in with the Bad Batch? But clearly, it's still during like the height of the Empire. But I just don't know what time frame this sat in, because she meets this young Jedi named Lyko, and he's trying to find the path, which is a kind of like the underground railroad for the Jedi, created by um crap what's that crap I'm blanking on that Jedi's name. He was mentioned in uh the Kenobi series. Crap, kind of got that Native American look to him. Blanking on his name. She kind of I guess had like a thing for him. I didn't remember her having any kind of thing for him. uh Crap, what is that? Crap, huh? It's gonna bother me if I don't uh find that guy's name, because he's actually a pretty cool character that was in the Clone Wars TV series. God, what is that guy's name? Um, Quinlan Voss. God, thank you. Jeez. looking for Quinlan Voss, who, you know what? As I was going through this, these sets of episodes, I can't help but think it's like we know there were like some Jedi survivors since Order 66, but man, uh, the Empire didn't do a very good job in eliminating the Jedi. Sure, there would have been stragglers here and there across the galaxy, but it's kind of like with the whole Superman Last Son of Krypton thing, where it's like, man, there's a whole lot of y'all still around. It's like, it's just like, I know they dropped the whole Last Son of Krypton a long time ago, but it's just like, man, y'all kind of sprouting up like weeds, and like, it's like hard pressed to say like your race will be totally extinct. So that's why I'm looking at the Jedi. Where it's like, man, y'all just popping up a lot here, and it's like I think I went through. I don't know what video I did. It's obviously a Star Wars video that I did on my channel, but I actually remember pulling up the list of Jedi that survived. It has to be close in the 20s, early 20s range of Jedi surviving. I think there was at least up to the point of, in the most recent Jedi character was the the character from the Jedi Survivor game. I forgot his name. At least up to that recent point at that time, it's just like, this is actually like a decent amount of you. And I'm not even including the future force sensitive children. I'm not even including them, but just the most well known, not even adult, but in like the preteens, getting into the teens age of young Jedi. And it's like, there's a fair amount of y'all still out there. But anyway, so Ventress is working at like a security at this transport area where you buy tickets to get on and off world, and she has a run-in with this kid named Lyko, who's obviously force sensitive but not very good at it. But then of course there some stormtroopers looking for him, and then her crappy boss sitting there snitching on him. So she and the kid fight their way out. She's trying to get him off world, but he mentions about Quinlan Voss, who she had like a thing for, and so she figures this kid is her way of seeing her love interest again, after, because she hasn't seen him since she thought she died but didn't. So in order to find the last they were looking for this kind of security node thing, or at least some kind of records of any kind of last known location of Quinlan Voss. That way, know where he's at, they know what the path is at. So they find some bounty hunters that Asajj Ventress knows from a run-in with Underworld activity. Then, she ended up struggling to deal with this bounty hunter and her droid companion. They break in to steal like an item for them because it's worth a lot of money. But things go awry. Asajj Ventress saves the kid, despite people warning Lyko not to trust Asajj Ventress. And I appreciate this. Now, this is like a 15 to 17 minute type of set of episodes, so they everything is truncated perfectly where you get like just the meat of it all. And she just upfronts about her past with this kid, which I appreciate, because in almost any other setting, they would have dragged that out and do this whole forced breakup, liar reveal shtick, which gets very old very fast. Hell, that kind of cliche got old in the mid 2000s. Um, so she was upfront like, yeah, I used to work for Count Dooku. I killed a lot of Jedi. Pretty sure I killed some that you probably personally have known. But I'm not that kind of person anymore. And I appreciate the kid not having some kind of like weird grudge or, none of that, you know, inorganic drama. Just like, look, you haven't betrayed me, so for right now, I'll just wait and see and just work with you because you saved my life and I saved your life. We're partners in this. And this, of course, culminates into a friendship because Asajj Ventress has changed a lot. She ends up, saving a kid a couple of occasions. And, of course, the bounty hunters tried to betray them after they lost that little, doohickey thing, the goober. And she ends up threatening the bounty hunter, like, hey, look, take us to where we need to go, and I will let you live. So they end up on the planet where she runs into this old man who used to be a separatist who recognized Asajj Ventress and said that because they live on a desert farm, he lived on a desert farm with his grandchild, and he says like, hey, we need some water from the spring, but there's some bandits around there. My granddaughter can take you to the area where supposedly some Jedi might be at, but help us out with this thing. So they end up going, and turns out the bandits weren't really bandits. They live near there, and that spring is where they get their water source. So it just culminates into like kind of sort of a misunderstanding where the guy, it was an old soldier in a way, where Asajj Ventress, states that you've been fighting for your life and this is the only way you know how, and then the war is over. And I'm glad through all this, there's some kind of retrospection with what happened during the Clone Wars up until now, where, as Ventress points out, nobody won. We both were wrong. And, everybody's pretty much paying the price for it now. Of course, nobody would have saw what Palpatine could have done. Nobody saw that coming. He played that very close to the chest and fooled a lot of people. And, that's something that we really should have, get a, I don't know, it was not Andor, but some show where they actually had some kind of sit-down discussion about how each side of the war played out and how wrong they were in retrospection. And looking back, there's probably some stuff that the Separatists was kind of right about, and we could have just handled it a whole lot better. And some stuff the Republic was wrong about, they could have definitely handled better. And we got a blip of it during the last season of The Mandalorian with that horrible like Jack Black Lizzo episode with Christopher Lloyd being like an old separatist member who really believed in Dooku's I want to call it propaganda, but you know, his view on how the galaxy should have been run. And it's like that was completely cut off and shut down. It's like that was something you could really dive into with the whole thing with the whole separatists. And now with hindsight, you can actually have like a legit discussion, like some old, separatists and some old Republic, you know, uh, you know, veterans actually have some kind of sit down, or like at least a couple of Jedi and some, old veterans from both sides of the old war, and actually has some kind of deep dive that could actually, been like a legit good watch. Where I was like, dang, that could have been like, that would have been something to really see, and we could actually learn from, and how things played out during the war that we didn't see because we were too busy fighting and being played by by Palpatine and his forces, and just some retrospection. Anyway, now the whole situation between this old man and the bandits kind of quelled. Ventress takes Lyko to where like some Jedi's loading up their ship. We don't get to see Quinlan Voss. It would have been nice, but maybe if they're doing another Tales of the Jedi, we get to see something with Quinlan Voss as the focal point. Or don't know if they ever do like a live action Quinlan Voss. But anyway, Lyko decides not to go and decides to stick with Ventress, and it seems pretty dope. Ventress gets kind of sort of her own Padawan. Now we get to switch with Cad Bane, and we see how he was. They actually used the word street rat, which I can't help but think about Aladdin at that point. And him and his best friend was pretty much orphans, scamming people, in order to scrounge for food. And they get spotted by this mercenary, bounty hunter, whatever guy who is from the same species as Cad Bane with the classic hat. And he gets the kids to work for them in order to bust up this underground thing. I'm not even sure if they was gambling or what. They could have been an underground casino type of thing. I'm not sure. We don't get to see like a actual what's going on inside. But as the kids was running towards, I forgot the guy's name who Cad Bane looks up to. Cad's friend gets caught by the cops while Cad managed to escape with the bounty hunter or mercenary, and pretty much was raised underneath his tutelage, which he struck up a relationship with his woman who was also part of this mercenary group. And on a mission back to Cad Bane's home world, the guy gets murdered by a lawman. Cad Bane takes that very personally, takes his hat, and decides to take over the. Well, he didn't necessarily take it over, but he decides to go out with his girl to go settle things with the lawman that took his mentor's life. he ends up running into his old friend. You know how this is going to end up turning out. We've seen plenty of movies that play this kind of stuff out. It's very beat for beat. The way they do it by is, it's very cool. Now you see how their lives kind of diverge, where Cad went through the life of a criminal, and his friend went through the life as a police officer. As a matter of fact, he's the deputy to the marshal, and the marshal was the one who took down Cad's mentor. So, Cad sets up an explosion that draws in the marshal. There's a classic Western shootout. Cad takes out the marshal, but the marshal clips his girlfriend in the shoulder. Turns out the woman's pregnant, but Cad didn't know that. She ends up, taking his gun and forcing him to give up, and he ends up getting arrested and sent to prison, while she gets looked after by his best friend and pretty much married her. She ends up dying during childbirth, and he ends up raising Cad Bane's own kid, which he never knew about, and of course never knows. And of course, Cad Bane, gets let out early, leading his mentor's group, and he starts making a name for himself. Then he ends up getting into the shootout with his old friend, and of course ends up killing his own friend. Despite everybody warning the friend to leave because he's coming after you, and of course he doesn't listen, because he's a very do-right type of honorable person, and not the one to run away when things get heavy. But like I said, it's very quick. I wanted to run through this, but yeah, pretty solid show. Like I said, when it comes to Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm, they always do well with the animated projects. Live action stuff tends to be hit and misses. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think they try harder with their animated projects, and maybe they put just the amount of the budget in their animated projects, rather than usually put an obscene amount of budget, unnecessarily amount, into their live action stuff. With Andor, I just tell you right now, clearly had like a big budget, but you can see they spent it very wisely. It wasn't overblown. They knew the exact amount what they needed to use this for, and they spent it properly. I don't know. They got probably better accountants. I'm not sure. But once the Andor show is over, I will give my overall thoughts on that. But if you follow me on TikTok, I already did like a non-spoiler on the first 3 episodes, but more specifically the 3rd episode, where this is like a big thing that happens. But if you watch my TikTok, you hear my overall thoughts about that particular part. But I'll go a little bit more in depth once I cover the entire second season, the final season, technically, because it leads into Rogue One. Anyway, that was my overall thoughts on Tales of the Underworld. Very good, very, very well selected characters. If they would do like another Tales of the Empire, they should have gone with something like Palpatine, and see his little upbringings. But I guess they wanted to save Palpatine for like an actual longer TV series, because I think they actually is planning on a Palpatine TV show, which hopefully they don't crap the bed on that one. Hopefully. But anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a like and comment and let me know what you guys think of Tales of the Underworld, and what other two characters you think they should do a show about? Because I think Quinlan Voss is like a good one, a really good one. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow as I hop back into some more uh, games. I think I want to wrap up FF15 so I can get back into pouring some more energy into Borderlands 2 replay. Anyway, take care, and thank you, Gadzillion, for stopping by all the way from Brazil. That was very cool. I think another person that reached out was from who was from a different country, was from France, which was kind of wild. But that was fun. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Happy May the 4th, and soon to be Revenge of the 5th. Take care. Peace.